INEC says it is fully focused on conducting well-organized by-elections and off-cycle governorship elections later in the year. Election management body to prosecute and penalize bungling RECs and other officials. Inter-Party Advisory Council IPAC sets up committee to interrogate the electoral process based on experiences garnered in the 2023 elections. As the Tinubu administration begins to take shape, stakeholders highlight sectors in dire need of quick intervention and areas rich in low-hanging fruits. We have a seasoned administrator and a politician on the hot seat as well. These and more on our lineup. I'm Fisai Ogunfuyi. Welcome. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, this week indicated that it has commenced necessary preparations for the conduct of the by-elections as well as the 3 off-cycle governorship elections scheduled to hold later this year. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu stated this in Abuja.
INEC is confronted this year with 4 by-elections as a result of resignation of Femi Gbajabiamila in the case of Surulere 1 Federal Constituency of Lagos State, and death in respect of Jalingo, Yeuro, Zing Federal Constituency of Taraba State, Chibok State Constituency of Borno State, and Chikun State Constituency of Kaduna State. The Commission is also preparing for 3 off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi States, which are scheduled for 11th November 2023.
We have already published the final list of candidates for the elections, and campaign in public officially commenced on the 14th of June 2023. The Commission will soon commence the regular stakeholder engagements ahead of the elections.
Election stakeholders across Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa are craving a conducive atmosphere devoid of crisis before, during, and after the elections.
We urge the security agencies not to relent in their efforts to rid the state of not only the criminal political merchants, but also to ensure that their backers are arrested and prosecuted.
They urged politicians not to overheat the polity, as well as desist from arming the youth for political purposes.
Also in the course of the week, the issue of an all-inclusive government came up as President Bola Tinubu received some members of the People's Democratic Party, former Senate President Ayim Pius Ayim, and former PDP National Publicity Secretary Olisa Metu, who had the State House to visit the President.
Yeah, it was a great honor to pay courtesy on the President, to congratulate him first and foremost for his successful inauguration as the 16th President of Nigeria, and also to encourage and congratulate him on the bold steps he had taken so far. So we had a whole lot of heart-to-heart discussions, but primarily is to congratulate.
Very good take of the policies he has done, his inclusiveness, and most of all to canvas for the idea of participatory governance, participatory democracy. We believe that for policies and programs, it has to be options and alternatives to those programs. But only when we're together can we achieve success. So we believe that from now onwards, Mr. President has shown the way that the country will come together, and then we'll be able to live happily.
Now, support groups of the All Progressives Congress representing the 6 geopolitical zones say it is time for inclusive governance, going by the renewed hope mantra of the Tinubu administration, which they say has hit the ground running.
It has become a political orphan and the most politically marginalized people in Nigeria. We are hoping that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will break this long-age bad situation and make FCT an integral part of the country with a great sense of belonging by appointing a competent person from amongst the people of FCT as a minister. And we believe that there should be a paradigm shift from the old ways of political segregation and discrimination, as this is the time for an inclusive governance. Indeed, our hope should be renewed.
Now, after a month and a week of mounting the saddle as Africa's largest democracy, many say Nigeria's new helmsman, Bola Tinubu, has not been vacillating in taking critical decisions which could shape his administration and in many ways determine its impact on Nigeria and Nigerians on the long run. Each region with its unique peculiarity and each sector with its peculiar challenge. They say fortune favors the brave. And His Excellency Dr. Nkem Okeke, immediate past Deputy Governor of Anambra State, joins us today. It's brave. He's going to take up a few questions, of course, on governance. You joined the APC, for a couple of years now, and being also the Vice Chair of APC Professionals Forum. What would be, in terms of your rating of the start we have seen in terms of its opening gambit so far as President Bola Tinubu's 1 month, 1 week stint, of course, in office, as we have seen it so far?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. I'm quite pleased. I'm quite happy with the progress made so far. The first is, they said a good leader is one that takes decisions, good or bad. A great leader is one that manages the outcome of those decisions. What the president has done so far says that he's ready for this job. The first, of course, is the removal of fuel subsidy. No president has had the audacity or the guts or the courage to do it. And in one move, fuel subsidy is gone. And of course, the interaction with the labor sector has shown that he's been able to manage it. The protest that people expected is not happening. And I know their engagement, they are talking, so hopefully by the time, in the next few months, something will come out of their discussions. The next is the foreign exchange, or the multiple windows that we had, which created so much distortions in the system. He's removed that. And the market, you see, is turning in the right direction. Even the CBN, I just learned, has allowed the IOCs, the international oil companies, to sell Forex to the banks. So that's movement in the right direction. What next? He signed the student loan bill, which to me is a great idea. And I think that sets the stage for whoever the next Minister of Education is to begin talks with stakeholders on what we can do with the education sector to be able to reform it. Because right now, it's not working. Of course, he signed the bill allowing state governments to be able to generate power, transmit, and also distribute power. So that any state that has the capacity, or even states that can come together, will be able to achieve this. Because without power, we can't industrialize. We can't move forward. So these things are happening. Of course, yesterday he signed the executive orders, the 4 executive orders, which to me is just simply trying to make the economy work better. These reforms are what you need. It will definitely improve our ease of doing business. Foreign partner companies that want to come into the country will look at it and say, yes, this is what we want to see. You don't want to keep on putting taxes on production, because that's where you want to produce. You can put taxes on consumption, not on production. So these are things we're seeing that's making us feel comfortable. Even the international community. The World Bank was here with their head of our international group, Bernard Mensah, and was quite pleased with the discussions with the president. Shell Petroleum has agreed to, in fact, increase their FDI in petroleum sector, especially in the gas area. Of course, some of the news agencies, Reuters, Al Jazeera, The Economist, are saying positive things. These are agencies that don't normally speak well of Nigeria, but here they are talking. You see the president engaging. He's talking to all stakeholders, talking to traditional rulers, talking to the private sector, talking to whoever wants to listen, saying the right things. He traveled to France for the Paris summit and had a lot of meetings on the sideline. And that's where you begin to have interaction with world leaders, get their body language, see what they think, what their arguments are, discussions are, and you'll be able to key into such discussions. Look at appointments. Square pegs and square holes. Look at all the special advisors he's put in place. I mean, these are not just politicians, they are technocrats. What we're expecting is that the same will translate to the appointment of ministers when the time comes. The whole idea is bring people who are capable. Now,
so if permit that I bought in, but let's just put it in perspective.
Yes.
Now ministers will be named soon, appointed. Of course, awaiting ratification from the House of Assembly. Which sectors take away your fancy, or are you particularly interested in terms of quick interventions?
Of course, finance. The Minister of Finance needs to be key, because everything we need to do is make sure that we are doing it in the right framework. Education is important for me. I believe that's an area we need to really look into. Infrastructure, yes, I believe so, even though the last administration did quite a bit on infrastructure. We need to look into power. We need to look into how we can provide sustainable, 24-hour sustainable power. So that's an area we must, key into. Health is also important, because healthy people are happy, people. The economy is also important, economic planning, to make sure that the fiscal policy is in tandem with the monetary policy, so that everybody's working in the same direction. Of course, we're still waiting to see who will be the CBN governor. That's also a key area to make sure that our monetary policies are sustainable, they are consistent. What a foreign investor wants is policies that are consistent in the long run. Not, you can't keep on vacillating, with your policies. We must make sure they are steady and long time, so that when they're coming in here, they're coming with the premise that, yes, this is the policy that's going to stay here in the long run, and I'm willing to invest and put my resources.
All right, let's take a few stories. We will now come to local politics and share your experiences both at the state and in the center. Let's quickly take a few stories making the rounds this week. The Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, has set up a committee to carry out a review of the 2023 election with a view to engendering dialogue between all stakeholders on electoral reforms. Chairman of the council, Yaba Gisani, stated this after the council's General Assembly in Abuja.
This particular IPAC General Assembly meeting is born out of the recent European Union Election Observation Mission report, which the Council emphasized that it has noted the content and recommendations, as well as other reports, and will respond as active and most critical stakeholder in the electoral process within 2 weeks. IPAC Chairman Yaba Gisani explained that the move is to achieve improved democratic practices in Nigeria.
People are entitled to their opinion. You can't take it away from them. But we, as the critical stakeholders, we have our own opinion. We know what we need. We know what has happened. We know what went wrong. We know how to correct it. And that is why we are not so much bothered about what any other person may say. Not even EU. Any other person can say whatever they like. That's why I say you can't cry more than they breathed.
Comparatively, IPAC is of the opinion that the 2023 general election was one of the most meticulously prepared polls in recent times. The council noted that INEC should be commended for the technological innovations introduced, especially in the accreditation of voters using the bimodal voter accreditation system BVAS, which has generally been scored high by voters, and that it is on record that the success rate for BVAS accreditation stands at 98% compared to the smart card readers' 29.2% during the 2019 general election.
Meanwhile, the European Union Observation Mission report on Nigeria's 2023 presidential election continues to generate reactions from different quarters. The coalition of civil society organizations for Tinubu and Shetima were at the EU office in Abuja.
Carrying various placards to physically present their response and observations to the European Union officials, the coalition were at the EU office in Abuja in their numbers. Although they could not gain access to the EU premises due to the presence of heavily armed security operatives, the engagement was held some meters away from the EU office.
Nigeria want to measure up with European Union countries. Nigeria want to be like the United States. Nigeria want to be like the Great Britain. Nigeria is striving seriously to be like every first and second world countries of the world. So we will not henceforth condone any false report. We will not henceforth condone any manipulated reports against our dear country.
The election was free and fair, and we stand by it, and we stand to defend the mandate. The European Union conclusion about fraudulent election does not arise at all, is unwarranted. And we believe also that it is orchestrated by the detractors of Nigeria's democracy.
Representatives of the European Union refused to make comment despite a request from the journalist.
All right. Meanwhile, before we go to other issues, we'll quickly go to Nasarawa State. Who is speaking there? Two speakers. Who is speaking the loudest? People are saying that maybe perhaps the government at the center should also weigh in, or parties at the highest level should try to resolve the matter. Let's take that report from Nasarawa State.
The emergence of two speakers at the Nasarawa State House of Assembly since the inauguration of the present administration has hindered the smooth takeoff of activities of the state legislative arm. This development concerned APC stakeholders in Nasarawa State say is not healthy for democracy and good governance.
We appeal to the leadership of the National Assembly to intervene and take over the leadership of the State Assembly pending the resolution of the crisis.
They expressed concerns that the issue, which has lingered for weeks, if not checked, can cause disunity and affect the peace Nasarawa State is known for.
There's already a setback. Every state is moving forward. We want this to come to an end. We don't want Nasarawa State to continue to be on the bad news.
They, however, appealed for due process to be followed in the resolution of the matter.
Okay, Dr. Nkem Okeke, former Deputy Governor of Anambra State, is still here with us. You dabbled into, being the helmsman, at least you were the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, so you've seen things at the state level. And looking at the Fourth Republic so far, I asked this question most of from the players. Are we maturing in terms of our practices? Are you seeing a situation where we have two speakers speaking there?
Interesting question. Are we maturing? Democracy is a process, and it continues to evolve. If you look at what's going on in the United States, you tell yourself, yes, they're supposed to be the bastion of democracy, but look at what's going on. Look at the last president of the United States. Look at how he was removed when he tried to get a second term. I think we're in the right direction. It's just that it's taking us a lot longer than most of us expected. But we're moving. I know a lot of people are complaining about this election. I personally think that this was one of the best elections we've ever had. I look at the number of governors that lost out in this process. I look at the fact that 5 parties produced governors. About 6 or 7 parties produced members of the Senate. 8 parties produced members of the House of Rep. 9 parties produced members of the State House of Assembly. It kind of tells you that politics is all local, so that people are getting more involved, and the more local you go, the more participatory people are getting, knowing their candidates. I think we're in the right direction. I think, to me, the next step we need to do is to see if we can get to electronic voting. Let's remove the human element from the process. I think that can help to remove the misconception that people are always trying to cheat. I know that electronic voting was tried in Kaduna. El-Rufai used it to do his local government election, and it worked. He even lost his own local government, during the process. So let's move in that direction. That's my prayer. That's hopefully within this administration that the president will maybe direct INEC to look into doing electronic voting, so that we just make sure that people, when you vote, the vote counts.
And naturally, that will, perhaps even deepen the process, as well as, advertise it to people who have been skeptical. But let me quickly come to you. You saw two speakers. We are talking about two speakers in Nasarawa State. But in your case, just like we had in Zamfara, there was a situation where your principal, the governor, was in one party. At one point or the other, due to your own inclinations, you were in another party. And that happened in Zamfara. The deputy governor was removed. In your case, you survived. How? Was it by the special grace of God?
The special grace of God. I heard rumors that he actually tried to remove me, but maybe he didn't get the support that he needed. I always wanted to play in the national politics. I felt that I can contribute my quota to national development, being in the center. I couldn't do it with the party I was in. I couldn't do it, with Abuja. Abuja is only a one state, party. But the plan wasn't for me to leave at the time I left. The plan was to stay till the end of my tenure and then move on to APC. The idea of APC was that the party in power. I'm not going to leave one opposition party and join another opposition party. But things began to change in the direction I wasn't very comfortable with. And I had to defect at the time. Even though when I came to Abuja to have the discussion, that wasn't the plan. The plan was for me to resign as deputy governor and pursue DG of a parastatal here, in Abuja. But the then party chairman said no.
I didn't know you before you became deputy governor, but I have it on good authority that you didn't have this number of grays on your head. It seems to me as if politics comes with its own stress for people perhaps who didn't think it would be that tedious.
Well, politics should not be stressful. It really shouldn't. It depends on the way you carry yourself with it, what your expectations. I went into politics to contribute my quota. To me, it's all your mindset, the premise why you go into something. If you have sincerity of purpose to contribute your quota, then you go in and do that.
Time is not my friend, but would you like to dabble again?
No, I can't see myself running for any election. Both times I got involved in politics, I didn't even make the effort. I was first a commissioner with PTOB back in 2006. And I stayed 6 months and I resigned my appointment. I went back to the university to continue my teaching. Next time I was outside the country when the then party chairman, Victor May, requested I come in to become the deputy gubernatorial candidate. I didn't ask him. He just said I should come. Of course, I sat down with my family and discussed, and my first son said, "Daddy, if you think you can contribute, why not? The people that are running election don't have two heads. Go and see what you can do." And I came back and that was it. I done my 8 years, and of course things didn't really turn out the way I wanted it. I didn't really put in the best. I know I could do much better if I had been given the opportunity, but that's life. It's an experience. I've had mine. Time to move on.
Some say the deputy governor's position is a bit lonely.
It's not the best. It's not the best. The way the Constitution has put it, it's not. You have to have incredible amount of patience. You have to swallow all sorts of rubbish. But it's an experience, and I thank God for the experience I had. Fortunately, my principal allowed me the opportunity to travel to represent him at meetings, functions and all that, and that exposed me quite a bit. I got to meet people, interact, and see what governance is all about. So I don't have any regrets, none whatsoever.
All right, for the past half an hour, we've had Dr. Kemo Okeke, former Deputy Governor of Anambra State. Many thanks for coming on the program and letting us share your experience. Hopefully, we'll get you in, especially once ministers have been appointed, so you can give us an insight to what you expect. After all, apart from being a Deputy Governor, you are also a lecturer.
Yes.
Though you met some professors in the political field.
Yes, I sure did.
That has been the program. Many thanks to you for watching, and that will be it for this week. We'll be back again with a brighter package and a fresher one on Tuesday, God willing. Keep on watching the Nigerian Television Authority for your news, reviews, previews, and interviews. It is Africa's finest and largest. And don't forget, between now and when we see you again, play your politics for the greater good. Bye-bye now.